Okay folks, back again. Now because I've been giving it large with retro stuff lately, I completely forgot that I had a backlog of vintage science fiction paperbacks, so I thought I'd knock a few of those out today for any of you who might be interested. I'm not gonna chat on today, bore you to death, because I've got a bit to get through, and I only get 30 minutes because if I go much over that, I have to splice the thing, and I can't be bothered with that. So here we go. Okay, first one this is stuff I picked up from the charity shop I normally go to. Okay, C.J. Cherry, or Hugo Award winning author. This is a nice compilation of 3 novels. Yeah, I mean, it's 520, so yeah, I guess, yeah. I was going to say there might be novelettes, but I think novels would be fair. And you can see on the front there, Port Eternity, Way Without the Shore, and Voyager in Night. I'm not familiar with this particular lady because it's more contemporary, but yeah, I thought it was a nice one to pick up for a couple of quid. Now, I remember this from way back in the day when I used to read a lot. Fugue for a Darkening Island by Christopher Priest. Yeah, I mean, he wrote a few decent novels back in the late 70s, 80s. This one's kind of an apocalyptic near future novel of Great Britain, the UK. It's a pan book, and it's dated 1978, so it looks like a first UK paperback. Now, just a word, somebody sent me in a comment a couple of weeks ago saying, my friends think you're a bit bonkers doing all this business with the dates, books and publication dates. Well, just to explain quickly, the reason I do that is because us serious collectors who read, and are serious collectors of books, paperbacks, we like first UK paperbacks and first US paperbacks, basically. So I thought I would impart that information to anybody out there who has a similar interest in books and collecting them, who likes to know what editions they are. I certainly do. So as I say, I'm just giving you that information in reply. Right. Okay, now Robert Heinlein needs no introduction. Waldo and Magic Incorporated. Now this is two novelettes, I would imagine, because there's only just 200 pages there. So I would imagine that classifies as novelettes. Nice, interesting cover there. This particular version is a second printing from 1975. Okay, Brian Orders. This is a compilation of his stories. I haven't read this one, but yeah, this is a Corgi edition, and it looks to be quite old. Yeah, it's the first printing from 1971. Corgi book, interesting cover. Okay, now this is a well-regarded book by Paul Anderson, Tau Zero. I've not read a lot of Paul Anderson. I recently read his Trade at the Stars book. I found it a bit tough going, to be honest. I read the first 100 or so pages and kind of gave up on it. He's not the sort of author that I particularly like, or his style. But as I say, this one is I believe it was nominated for a Hugo Award way back. This is a Berkeley American edition, and it's a first printing from 1976. Very minimalistic cover there. Okay, now these are the sort of books I like. Science Fiction Hall of Fame Volume 2, edited by Robert Silverberg. I've got a few of these Hall of Fame books. I don't know if this is an English version of the American versions that I've got, but I checked it, and it's certainly got different stories, but maybe they sometimes swap stories around. And as I say, this has got a fairly stellar list of top authors there, and it's a Sphere edition, and it's a first printing from 1972. Just read a lot of those. Right, I've got a few oversized books here. I was particularly pleased with this one. It's more contemporary, of course. Fritz Leiber, his Fafford and Grey Mouser stories are in here. There are four of his novels in that one, entitled Lankmar, and I seem to remember all of his books were called. There's actually nothing in here that tells you what the books are in there, but first one's Swords and Deviltry, and I would have to flick through it to find the others, but they're all, I think they're all called Swords and something, but very well thought of Swords and Sorcery series that, and like I say, I mean, what did I pay? A couple of quid, you know. It's a £9 book, and it's not a first printing, but it's 2008. So yeah, I was chuffed with that one. Right, here's an anthology, contemporary anthology. So I'm not really familiar with a lot of the more recent authors, but Solaris Rising #2, edited by Ian Waits, who I am not familiar with. Neither am I familiar with many of the writers, authors there, but I like anthologies, and if I want to get into something more contemporary, ideal. This is a first printing, 2013. First paperback printing, that is. Right, and here's one that you probably all know, The Handmaid's Tale. Margaret Atwood. Very well thought of book. Again, I think this was nominated for a Hugo. If it didn't win it, I can't remember. I'm not. I know the old Hugo winners, but I'm not familiar with the more recent winners of that award. Yeah, it's like a dystopian future book. I didn't realise she'd written so many books, actually. And this one is a very, very late printing in 1996. I don't know what printing it is, but it's a very late one. Okay, now we move on to Ian Banks. Now, I've shown you a few of his books before. He did this Culture series. I think 10 books. This is the only short story book in amongst all of those, state of the art. And there are very many printings of these, and this is a fourth reprinting from 1996. Okay, and then this was one of his novels in the series. I don't know whether it was fifth or fourth or Player of Games. You know, people either hate these books or love them. I've never read any of them, so I can't comment, but hopefully I'll get round to reading one, and again, I expect this to be a later printing. Oh yes, this is all eighth printing or something. You know, these books have always remained in print because they're so popular. Here's a couple of the later ones in the series, Culture Series Accession. I don't suppose I'll ever get round to reading that one. And then again, that's third or fourth printing. And Look to Windward, which is very nice condition. I mean, that's hardly been read, that one, if at all. And again, that seems to be a first printing from 2001. So that's nice. Right, now the rest of the stuff I'm going to show you is all from an eBay lot I bought, quite a large lot. It was good. I mean, first of all, the bad, I've seen better condition books, but let's say we're dealing with 60-year-old books here. I've seen a better condition lot. I've had better condition lots. But on the bright side, even taking out the ones I already had, that they only worked out around 75 pence each, which is, is nothing for old vintage books. And so that was the second point I was going to come to. Most of these are bona fide vintage 60s and 70s. Most of them anyway. A couple of them I'm going to show you aren't, but that's by the by. So yeah, I think there was about 30 odd of these in the lot. I'll get through as many as I can in the time that I've got. Not familiar with, I've heard of Lawrence Watt Evans, but I'm not familiar with this particular series. Wizard and the War Machine. Apparently he's a Hugo award-winning author. As I say, I'm not up to scratch with. And that's a paperback original, so presumably that's a proper first printing, And then we have, it's more like a juvenile, this one, Future Track 5. Puffin book, yeah, so it has to be and by Robert Westall, it has to be a juvenile if it's a puffin. But some of these juvenile books are quite good, actually. I read one a few years ago, which I thought was absolutely outstanding. And this one is a first Puffin Books edition, 1985. Okay, right now, this is another one of the classics, A Martian Odyssey by Stanley Weinbaum, I don't know how you pronounce it. There's four possibilities anyway. This is an American Lancer book, of course. So it's one that I've always meant to read because it's a book of short stories, which I'm particularly fond of. And this is a first printing from 1966, so that's a nice old one. Okay. Time in Advance by William Tenn. Ballantyne did a lot of English editions of his books, a set of 6, I believe, of which I've got maybe one. This one, Time in Advance, I'm not familiar with, but it's an old book by the look of it, so not in great condition, but let's see when it was printed. This is April 66, and it's a first UK paperback. Okay, moving on. Hell's Above Us. Now, I couldn't even find this on Goodreads. Goodreads is a site where you can actually list your books. You can do a database of all your books, and I use it to database on mine. I couldn't even find this one on there. So I don't know how rare this is, but else above us. Oh, I'm not familiar with it, but there again, it's an older book, and it's from April 1963, so almost 60 years old. Yeah, I've seen worse condition. And right, I've got a couple here by Charles Sheffield. These are more modern books. Site of Proteus. Novel. This is by Arrow Books. The same, more contemporary. Arrow edition 1981. So it looks like a first UK paperback. And by the same author, The Web Between the Worlds, again, Arrow book, not in too bad condition. It's obviously been read a few times, but that's what it's there for. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice already. And this one is 1981, first UK paperback. So at this point, we'll just take a quick swig here. I've got a bit of a cold at the moment, which doesn't help, but if you can't help me, you can't hear me rather, it's not much use, is it? Right, this is our friend William 10 again, of all possible worlds. It's an early Mayflower book, looks like a novel. And this one's from, there's a second printing from 1966. Interesting colour. Moving on. This is a strange one. H.G. Wells' The Shape of Things to Come, Volume 2. Now, I must admit, I'm not familiar with this Hutchinson's Pocket Library, but I've looked on eBay for Volume 1 with no luck whatsoever. So I'll have to keep an eye out for that, because it is one of Wells's great works, if you like, apart from, the War of the Worlds and the Time Machine. It's got one of those lovely stamps inside that I love. I used to buy a lot of my books from these places, these old second-hand bookshops in London when I lived there. And this is from, I can find it, doesn't say. I would imagine it's 70s by the look of it. I won't tell if there's a price on it, which there isn't. So that's a real weird one. No price, no date. Maybe it's a bootleg. I don't know. Okay, A. Van Vogt, very prolific author from, I guess he started in the 50s, I think, 60s, 70s, 80s. He was right, for 4 decades as far as I remember. I think he died at some point there. But, a lot of his works are very well thought of. That's Moon Beast, the Panther edition. That will be early 70s, I would imagine, because it's got the old shillings and pence and the new price on. That was a Panther edition, 69. So, it looks like a first UK paperback. I like to have those old Panther books, because most of them are firsts. Right, then we have Bob Shaw, Who Goes There? Oh, Who Goes Here, sorry. Which I think is a homage to an old story called Who Goes There. That's why I said it in the first place. It's a novel from Pan. I would imagine it's a bit more recent. No. Pan books in 1979. So it just creeps into that vintage era. Okay, the long-awaited third book in the series, apparently. Warlock the Unlocked, Christopher Stashef. What is it? It's billed as fantasy. So I'm not sure what to expect from this one. But it's the third in the series, so the first two obviously did well enough to warrant publication of the third. And that was issued in 1984, first UK paperback. It's a joy of this lot, most of them are UK paperbacks, despite the condition of some of them not being sort of A+, but as I say, you expect that. A few creases, read a few times, doesn't bother me, quite frankly. It's nice to have mint ones, but you can get them if you're buying sort of like 2010 books or 20 books, but from this date, you don't really expect it. Yeah, War Against the Rull, another famous book from Van Vogt. There again, it's early 70s, I would imagine, because both the prices are on. This is a second printing from 69, actually. That wasn't far out. All of these Panther books are very, very similar covers, the black background with something more light on the front end. Okay, now, there's another one I don't think I found on Goodreads. Man with Absolute Motion, Silas Water. I'm absolutely not familiar with the book or the author. It's an Arrow book. It's an old one by the look of it. Looky here. Yeah, Arrow edition 1965. Interesting cover. Okay, we've got a few more over here, then I'll leave the rest of this batch until the next video. Right, the odious ones, Jerry's Soul. I think there's just pot boiler, this one. Here again, it's Sphere. One of those strange covers. So it's not. I don't know why that's all black. Maybe add one of those edges to it, that some books have. But mostly American books, to be honest. And this one is First Sphere Books edition 67, so at least it's a first paperback edition. So it has that going for it. Right, third year. Kurt Scherdmack. Heard of the author, but I'm not familiar with the book. It's a novel, obviously. Again, it's I don't know what's happened to the edges of the pages there. Obviously, it's been yellow or gold and got discoloured over the years. But apart from that, it's not in bad nick, and it's first printing, so it's a first US paperback from 1974, published by Pinnacle. I like American books, that's what I used to collect back in the day. Okay, needs no introduction, Robert Silverberg. Very, very prolific author, as you probably know, any of you that are into this stuff. Strange cover, that one, I've got to say. Very strange. Needle in a Time Stack from Sphere Books. It's seems to be a short story collection. Yes, about 10 short stories, and it's a first Sphere Books edition, so therefore first English paperback from 67. Right, moving on to the last half a dozen. There we have Robert Silverberg again. This one's a bit, I think it's been somewhere damp because it's got that little wrinkly effect on it, but nevertheless it's quite a nice cover. It's an Orbit book. I would imagine this one's a little bit later. Well, it says Future Edition, and that's the same as Orbit, and it's from 1987, but it seems to be a first first English paperback. And here he is again, Hawksbill Station. Strange cover, that one. From Tandem Books. There again, it would be late 60s, I would imagine. Have a looky, yeah. Well, 1970. So, but it looks like a first UK paperback once more. So a nice little lot, really, from the point of view of first printings. This is a doubler. One's got Those Who Watch and Thorns. 2 for the price of 1. That there is May. Well, it's a second edition, actually, new edition from 78, so it's a second printing. Okay, folks, and we're down to the last 3 now. Yeah, this is one of those sort of like almost science fiction. It's catastrophes, the big wave, ecological disasters or whatever. Quite a lot of these were done in the 60s and 70s. J.G. Ballard did quite a few, some of which are still to get. So I don't know this particular chap, Conrad Vosbach. It looks like a pseudonym to me. But anyway, it was from New English Library, and it's a first paperback from 1979. So not quite vintage, not quite modern. Okay, and last but one, we have A. Van Vogt again, Battle of Forever. Bit of scuffing to the front cover. That's quite a nice cover, actually. It's a shame about the scuffing. I think that one, it's a New English Library, that one. I think it'll be a bit more modern. Yeah, it's the first NEL paperback edition from 73, so it's again a first UK paperback. Wonderful. And last but not least, we have an anthology, Antigrav, with some stellar names there, by Arrow Books, and that there was issued in, doesn't say. Oh yes, it does. 1975, first first UK paperback. So yeah, I mean, all in all, I mean, the condition wasn't that bad, but not the greatest I've ever had. But the fact that most of the books were 60s, early 70s, and first UK paperback printings was a big bonus. I still have a few left from that purchase to show you, which I will do at some point. Hopefully next time I'm going to show you that Supergun Jammer board thingy that I bought at the retro fair a couple of weeks ago. So hopefully that'll be the next one. And in the meantime, thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Subscriptions have gone up quite a bit since my last video, which got a nice few views on it, very early doors. And yeah, keep sharing, please. That's the most important thing. Just share these, tell all your friends about the mad old bloke, and I'd appreciate that. So until next time, I will see you all later. Bye-bye now.